Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. It is meteorologist Matt Wintz. I want to give you a look at the winter storm potential as we get on into the weekend. First of all, hope you're all doing well. I mean, we're 24 hours out here from the ball drop and, really haven't seen a whole lot of snow through the month of December. And again, 2022 is going to kick off with a couple storm systems that are going to bring some snow to the area. A couple things we're going to look at tonight. We'll wait for some people to join on here. But keep in mind, if you're watching this anytime later than Thursday, around 8:13 is when we're kicking off here. Keep in mind, some of that information might be a little bit outdated. Remember, things change. But models have had pretty good consensus over the last 36 hours or so on the track of this storm. The intensity has kind of varied a little bit, but it does look like we are going to have some snow. Will it be a big deal? We'll talk about that in this edition of Region Weather Live. We'll be back after the intro video and we'll go through the models and answer your questions as always. All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Again, I'm meteorologist Matt Wintz. Want to send a quick shout out to Lori, Jackie, Greg, Jimmy, Michelle, Sandy, Shar, Brenda, and Stephanie. Love your realistic update, she says. And hi to Rhonda. Happy New Year to you guys as well. I'm off today. It's first day off in a while. I'm in a sweatshirt. It feels great. I had my COVID booster earlier today, so my arm's getting a little sore. Other than that, we're doing great. So just kind of a lounging day. And I'll be honest, I'm in sweatpants right now too. So this is great. It's been nice to be able to relax and kind of sit back, look at the models to see how this system is going to evolve. I want to start by saying there's a lot of people when we have winter storms that tune in. They want to know what's going on. I think a lot of people assume that region weather and that my take on it is to get clicks and hype and all that stuff. And if you haven't been around region weather long enough, I just want you to know that we're going to keep things real through this. That's what we do. Is this going to be a huge, impactful storm? I'm going to get this out of the way and say, no, it's not. Are we going to have accumulating snow somewhere in the area? Yes, we will. The latest track on this is taking it a little bit further north. I'm not surprised by that. I wouldn't be surprised if it went even a little bit further north. It all depends on how this low develops. So we could end up with a little bit of snow. We could end up with a lot of snow. But as of right now, it looks like we're just going to end up with some snow. That's what I'm going to say right now. But I'll show you some of the models beg to differ, and I'll produce our arguments against that. All right. So that's what we're dealing with. Oh, and I see Drew mentioned, sorry to hear about our cat. Thank you, Drew. My 16-year-old cat today, my wife and I, she passed away this morning. So she was kind of ready to go. We were kind of ready for it as well. But man, I had my goodbye with her last night. Yeah, it was kind of a tough day. I mean, cats are family members too. So we're kind of going about, cleaning litter and stuff and getting everything put away. So appreciate that, Drew. Certainly appreciate it. All right, let's get to the models. For those that don't care about, cats, weather, personal things like that, I totally get it. We'll get to the weather. That's what you came here for. So this is what we're dealing with. I want to give you the setup first of all. There's a system out west that's diving south, and there's another one in the Four Corners region. Both these lows are getting together. They're going to kind of carve out. They're going to head south, and then they're going to head along areas near Texas, and then they're going to head out into the plain states. These systems tend to produce a real heavy strip of snow on the northwest side of it. That's exactly what's going to happen with this one. I think the big question with this is, where does that strip of snow, end up? Where does the rain snow changeover end up? Because we're going to be right in line for that. It's a very tricky forecast, as always. It seems these storms always go through northwest Indiana, and it's either all rain or it's a rain. We have some mix, or we have all snow with it. But more often than not, these systems have a northward jog to them over time. And I would imagine that's what happened today with the models. They're kind of jogging it north. And what's that mean for us? It just means less snow, and it means more snow out towards Rockford and southern Wisconsin. So these are the latest model runs. I was going to do a Region Weather Live earlier this evening with the 12Z model runs, but I wanted to wait till the 18Z came out. That's the latest one. So you're getting the latest information now. So if you watch any of the 6 o'clock newscasts, their information that they had was the 12Z. It's just older. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a little bit older. This is the latest stuff. So this is the Euro's look of how this storm develops. We are now into New Year's Eve. Remember, I mentioned we may have some showers around. It doesn't look too bad. Most of the rain will hold off down to our south, but just kind of murky outside. It'll be pretty warm, as we'll still be on the warm side of thing on New Year's Eve. But New Year's Day is when the action's going to happen. So we'll kick you out. This is Saturday morning now. You can see this elongated area of low pressure. I'm actually going to go, if I can, I'm going to go full screen. Well, that doesn't really help because I'm just tiny in the corner. Okay. All right, we'll stay like this. But you can see this elongated area of low pressure. There'll be thunderstorms that develop down towards areas of Tennessee and Kentucky. Lots of heavy rain with this stretching all the way from New York, all the way back into Texas. So it's a very elongated system, right? On the northern edge of that, we'll have colder air that's sinking in. So Saturday, our temperature is pretty much going to go down in the region all day. So we're going to start on the warmer side. You'll say, what snow? But the temp will be coming down. That moisture is eventually going to catch up with it. And that's where our band of snow develops. So you can see some icy weather developing areas of Missouri. Here comes our snow. This is now Saturday, just after midday. So we're talking early afternoon. The Euro thinking it's going to push in around then. Again, all this will change over the next couple of days. It might not change by much, though. That's why we're talking about it. But you could see for us here in the region, this is Saturday afternoon, the Euro thinking we may have a little rain-snow mix. Our temperature might still be too warm to produce all snow. We should quickly change over to all snow as we get into the evening. And if you remember, we talk about that sweet spot in the storm systems. The area that gets the heaviest snow in storms like this is right where this rain changes over to snow. You tend to get some of the heaviest snowfall rates in that area, or just north of that. And that's pretty much where we're lining up on a lot of these models. But again, a lot of other ones line it up a little bit further northwest. But that's going to be who receives the most. So we're now into Saturday late afternoon. This is now Saturday evening. You notice we've changed over pretty much to all snow in the region. It's coming down pretty good. And then there's our hit of snow. That's Saturday late evening on into Saturday early overnight. So like midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Notice there's some icing mixing in, some freezing rain and sleet. Remember, freezing rain and sleet drastically cuts back your snowfall total. So if that were to verify, all that heavy snow that the models are showing would be cut back, because you're losing the heavy flakes and you're replacing it with freezing rain and sleet. And then you can see as we go through time, this is now early Sunday morning. The system's already pulling out. So it's going to be a pretty quick hit. That's why I think snow totals aren't going to get out of control with this. And then the thing I think we should watch, and just take notes for this, Sunday is interesting because the system will be moving on out. We'll likely still have snow showers. Temperatures are going to plummet. We'll probably be in the teens Sunday. But that wind is going to shift as the system kind of curls by. I would imagine we'll have some kind of lake-enhanced band. If you've been around long enough, you know how this goes. You have the system snow, so everyone's seeing light snow. It's windy, it's cold, it's just kind of nasty out Sunday. But near the lake shore, wherever that lake effect or lake-enhanced band is, you'll have heavy snow. And it'll be those big fluffy flakes, and they'll be blowing around like crazy too. I could foresee on Sunday that lake enhanced or lake effect band kind of swinging around and swinging through northwest Indiana, where we have a window of a couple hours on Sunday where we get some heavier snow in Lake County, then it goes to Porter County, then eventually LaPorte County. So just because the system's going to be gone on Saturday or on Sunday doesn't mean that we're out of the woods yet. We may see some of our heavier snowfall rates if that lake effect band were to materialize. So just keep in mind, models, not really picking up on that yet. You can see it's picking up on a little bit of lake effect. But again, this is a global model, so it doesn't really have those fine-tuned details. And then everything's out of here Sunday night, Monday. So a lot of people, I've gotten, I think, three or four Facebook messages today asking about potential for school on Monday when everyone goes back. Not everyone's back Monday. Some schools choosing not to do Monday. A lot still doing virtual. Teachers get a day off, whatever it is. If your school is going back on Monday, I don't foresee school closures on Monday due to the snow. I think we'll have enough of time between when the snow ends and when school begins on Monday. Just a thought out ahead of time so you can plan. All right, so that's the Euro. Let's take you through the GFS. So GFS has been a little bit more bullish with this in the last couple runs. I just hit the wrong button and the computer's really slow this evening, so that's great. Let me show you something else first. So we're getting our first look at some of the high res information that's coming in, and this is the latest NAM-NEST. So this shows the fine-tuned details on what it thinks is going to happen. And this has a pretty similar scene. You can see elongated area of low pressure. This is Saturday morning. We're now getting into Saturday midday. So this has a little bit of an earlier arrival, meaning it doesn't quite carve out as much. But this is a midday Saturday. So this is like around lunchtime. You notice how we've got a little rain snow mix. It doesn't maybe start as all snow across the area. I could buy that as the colder air is settling in. But then by early afternoon, we start to bring in the snow. And the NAM-NEST has some pretty heavy snow in here as we get into the early afternoon hours on Saturday. And again, this is that sweet spot right here. And that is the big question right now, is where does that sweet spot end up, right? Where does that rain change over to snow? Wherever it does, that's where you're going to see your heaviest totals, right? And this model has it right over our area. It does have some icing and some freezing rain and sleet mixing in Newton and Jasper counties, even Stark County. So that would cut back in your snowfall totals. And then you can see as we go through time, the system still snowing on us Saturday night. And you can see some of these little bands. It's actually picking up on some of that lake effect I was talking about that would likely swing in your Saturday night, Sunday. So timing on this is a little quicker with that, whereas the Euro, it's a little bit slower. All right, let's get into, I want to show you two more model runs here. We'll talk totals after this. Again, for those of you that are new with us and don't typically, pay attention to the forecast, or maybe you discovered us here at Region Weather, I do want you to know that I hate forecasting snowfall totals, and it's not the lazy meteorologist in me. I think it's irresponsible to go out even 2 days in advance and say, hey, we're going to get 6 to 12. And then I slyly change it on you 10 hours later and say, oh, 2 to 4. We've been saying it the whole time. Snow totals don't matter in the scheme of things. It matters what the impacts are. Roads are going to be nasty if there's 8 inches. Roads are going to be nasty if there's 4 inches, right? It's all about what the impacts are going to be to your day. And if you stop and think about it, I know we like numbers, but if you stop and think about it, that's all that matters to you as well, right? Is how much snow impacts us versus a light snow, a cosmetic coating, whatever it is. And again, this storm has the potential to produce some impactful snow. It's not going to be a blockbuster storm. My gut, if I had to say it right now, would be anywhere from probably 2 to 6. But again, I'm not going to say it. I just did, but I'm not going to say it because, again, that will probably change over the next couple of days. We could get more if it shifts south. We could get less if it goes north. So let's quickly go through these two models now. Again, this is the latest GFS. This is the 18Z that's out. We'll go step it through time pretty quickly. I'll try to roll through this. I've been kind of chatting a little bit here. But here comes the low pressure. This is Saturday afternoon now, so the GFS is a little slower as well. This brings in some light snow to start, and then you can see it brings in that heavier snow. It has us in the sweet spot as well as Chicago. Little icing in the southern counties. This is now Saturday evening, Saturday night. We're getting a heavy snow then, and then it moves out, and you can see things, a little bit of lake effect on at the end there, but things pretty much agree up, right, with the Euro and the GFS. And the Canadian's the same way. This is the GEM model. And again, these are the deterministic models. These are taking all the ensembles and putting them together. The ensembles have come in better agreement as well. What the ensembles are hundreds of different model solutions. It's basically 100 of these, right? And they put them all together, and these are the averages of them. If you ever hear those two words kind of flipped around a lot. So the GEM agrees with pretty much the other two models as well. It's a little bit slower at the onset. You notice here how we're now talking midday. This is early afternoon, and we haven't seen anything yet. Here comes the precip. It'll move in pretty quickly, says the GEM, on Saturday night. This has the heaviest snow coming in here Saturday night and early Sunday, so it's even a little bit slower than that. Icing down to the south, and then eventually the system swings by. Two impacts that we're going to have behind the system: cold. We're going to have wind as well. It's going to turn very windy, especially as that cold air wraps in on the backside. So we'll have wind chills likely in the single digits. It's been a while. And we're going to have temperatures that just plummet, especially Saturday night and Sunday. All right, let's talk totals, shall we? Let's talk what the models are showing here. So we're going to go to, I'm going to start with the GEM since we're on it. None of the models have put out really impressive totals. Again, this isn't going to be a blockbuster snowstorm. It's going to be an accumulating snow. That's why the title of this is Weekend Snow is on the way, not go get all the bread and butter and milk. I don't know if you get butter for a snowstorm, probably not. But anyway, it's not going to be a blockbuster storm, but it's going to be a decent storm for some folks, right? We can handle it. So here you go. This is what the GEM has. This is the latest GEM. You can see the heaviest snow north, pretty much north of I-80, along and north of I-80. It's got a good 6 to 9 inches on us. All right, a little bit less down to the south where we have the icing. In terms of the GFS, this is again the 18Z, or no, this is the 18Z run. This is a little less in terms of snowfall amounts, but it's cranking out a general 4 to 8 inches. So that's a respectable snow, right? And then the Euro, which I tend to lean Euro on a lot of things. The Euro is kind of flopped around on this though, so I'm not too confident in it. You can see it has lesser amounts. So it has a general 2, 3, 4, and then eventually a 4 to 8 inch area off towards the north. And again, this axis that we're looking at in terms of snowfall totals, that will shift a little bit over the upcoming days as everything tries to kind of align and figure itself out. We should have a pretty good idea how this storm is going to behave. As long as the models align, we'll have a good idea as we get on into Saturday, or on Friday, tomorrow. Saturday, of course, when it's happening, we'll have a great idea how it's behaving. But that's kind of how it goes from here, all right? So in terms of how this system's going to evolve, again, on radar, you're going to see rain to our south and west on Saturday morning. That will move in. We'll have falling temperatures throughout the day, and eventually we'll get in on some heavier snow wherever that rain changes over. So big questions right now is, where does that line up? That's always the question a couple of days out. All right. So let's get to your questions. If you guys can go ahead and lay them on me here, and then we'll get you on your way here on this Thursday night. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I see a lot of Happy New Year's. Sorry about your cat. Brandy says e-learning day scheduled. Yeah, right. I know. Okay, Jennifer asked a great question. She says, are we looking at winds that are damaging in Porter County? I wouldn't say damaging winds, Jennifer. The good news is leaves off the trees, obviously, so they can withstand some pretty decent winds this time of year as we get with winter storms. We'll have gusts probably over 40 at times, and that would occur. Why don't I just show you on here? That would occur Saturday afternoon, especially Saturday night and Sunday. So let's go to show you the wind gusts here. So this is the HRRR model, and you can see out ahead of this system, this is Saturday, we have gusts to 20. It's really the wind behind this system that I'm worried about. Right in there, you can see these are gusts 30 to probably 40 miles per hour at times. I would not be surprised if we had 40 mile per hour wind gusts. But I wouldn't say damaging in terms of that. It will be windy. Keep in mind, we'll likely have some snow. This will be a fluffier snow, especially the later we get Saturday night. Sunday snow will be a fluffy snow as well, especially any lake effect we get. So that fluffy snow blows around. So we'll have blowing and drifting snow with this. Will it be a lot? Again, that's yet to be determined. I could see some of us ending up with just 2 or 3 inches of snow that's blowing around, but it'll definitely be wintry around here by the time Sunday rolls around. Darren, thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. We have plans in 2022 to do more with our YouTube channel, so I appreciate you joining us on there for sure. We've got a lot of good things planned for 2022. Trust me, I've got a whole spreadsheet of things that we want to do to kind of expand region weather a little bit further. Let's see, more questions. Mike Brown, if you haven't noticed, Mike will comment on a lot of things. Mike, I always appreciate your insight. Mike's down towards the Indianapolis area, but he always brings up a great point. He says, I want you to explain how these weather patterns take the same path over and over. It's been happening for several years. Explain how the jet stream can take the same path for the last several years with these storm systems. Mike, it's a great question. So we have noticed, we've noticed a couple things in terms of, things changing climate-wise. Everything has kind of been bumped a little bit later. So our winters, at least the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, you can go back in time probably 15 to 20, but we've had some bad winters. 78 was bad. There were other ones in the 90s that we had a lot of snow, especially lake effect. But more so recently, we've had kind of a shift of the seasons, right? You've probably noticed it. And winter really doesn't start until December sometimes, and it usually lasts a little later as well. We seem to be colder into March and April. So that's been interesting. But in terms of your comment, Mike, about the jet stream taking the path, the jet stream takes this path very often. It's just been pushed a little bit further north, at least over the last couple years. We have noticed that, right? Where the jet will dig out towards the west and it'll ride right up through Indiana. The thing you got to understand, though, is Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, we have such volatile weather here with the jet stream because we're either on the cold side of things or we're on the warm side of things. But what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years is that southeastern ridge has been a little bit stronger, which keeps the warmer air in the southeast, which bumps that jet stream up a little bit, right? But again, is this something that's here to stay? That's what we don't know about, right? Climate fluctuates all the time. You can go back to the 40s that were very dry. We had very cold winters. If I don't know, if you go back into the records, you can pull anything out of it that you want. I just want us to understand that. But yes, Mike, this is another storm that you're going to be on the warm side of things. You're going to turn colder down towards Indianapolis behind this. You'll probably have some flakes flying, but by and large, this storm will be mainly a Chicago storm and perhaps Northwest Indiana. That's what we have to keep an eye on. Jimmy asking, how much snow do you think? Jimmy, it just depends on the track. My gut says 2 to 6 right now. But it depends on where you are. Newton and Jasper County, if we get in an icing situation with this, we could end up with less. And I may have a different total for you tomorrow with new model runs, new guidance in here. But as of right now, I think bulk of the snow will be northwest of us, but it could be more, right? So that's what we're looking at. I think it's irresponsible to put out totals right now. I think what we need to focus on are impacts, and we could have a pretty impactful storm. Russ is good with only plowing 2 inches. Appreciate that. Kim, great question. Which direction will the winds be? So they're going to be, winds always point towards the area of low pressure. So they're going to start as this low ramps up down to our south. I don't know if you could see those little arrows on there. It's going to be a south to southeast wind early Saturday. That's the warm up that we get, right? And then back behind it, we'll have a really strong, probably a northeasterly component here. Here's where the low develops right here. So there you go. That north wind is going to be going to town on us, and it'll turn northeasterly. There you go. There's that northeast wind. And then back behind it, it'll turn to the northwest. So for the majority of this storm system in particular, after we lose that south wind, which brings in the warm air for New Year's Eve, the wind will turn out of the north, and that's what's going to cause our temperatures to drop. So the strongest winds are going to be out of the northeast, north, and then eventually northwest. Drew's waiting for coffee with Matt. I know we need to get this going. Yeah, I was going to give you some of the ideas that are coming forward next year, but I can't. Hi, Leanna. Appreciate you saying hi. I think I might be getting behind on these. Matt asked a great question. Will the lake effect on the backside be a single strong plume or more of a multiple banding event? A little too early to tell on that, Matt. Given experience with these storm systems, I would guess it would be, I don't think it's going to be a strong single band. I think it'll be more like we have system snow, and then you get this little area of multiple small bands, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of them, where they kind of just rotate along the lake. And then I could see it Saturday or Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, those 3 kind of form into a bigger band. I don't think it's going to sit over any particular area that long. So I don't think it's going to be a prolonged lake effect event. I really don't. So, if you're along the lake shore, you might get a hit of snow for an hour or 2, and then it'll move out. But it'll be interesting to see for sure. Jeff just joining. He said, what times does snow start on Saturday? Models differing on that, Jeff. I would say anytime after midday is fair game for the snow. Leanna, I don't know about the snowblower. And if your husband does buy a snowblower, we probably won't get the snow. I've noticed that happens. Anytime someone buys a snowblower, we don't have it. Sherry says, thanks for the update. My son's 9, always asks me about what you have to say about the weather. Sherry, that's cute. Yeah, one of my plans for next year is to do something with the kids, to do like a question and answer session, because I already do it for school visits here. So I don't see why not, right? Lynn, thanks for the update. Looking forward to tomorrow's update. Yeah, we'll have another one for sure. Mark asking, he says, freezing rain, wind, deep freeze. Do you see an issue with this? I don't know if I quite understand the question, Mark, but that's okay. So freezing rain, wind, and deep freeze. So yeah, I could see some icing if that's a thing. If you're talking in terms of like an ice storm, I don't see a huge issue with that. I do think the temperature drop is going to be pretty significant. So any water that we have anywhere will likely flash freeze, right? Especially as we get into Sunday and Saturday night too. In terms of the freezing rain, there is a potential. We can go back and actually look at it as well in terms of ice potential. Here's your freezing rain accumulation. I don't see it being a big overall deal for us locally. You can see the model's not really saying it's going to be a big ice event. I think it's going to be more of a sleet with a little freezing rain mixed in where we see that icing. But I think for much of us here in the region, it's just going to be either a snow story or a rain to snow story. And how heavy will that snow be? Mike asks a good question. Will initial snowfall be light? As in, will I be able to salt the storm and keep businesses open for the remainder of the day Saturday? Mike, my guess would be initial snow would be light at the onset of it. But the question is, how long does that last? I don't feel like the light snow is going to last that long. I would say, I mean, just gut looking at the storm, I would say probably an hour or two, maybe 3 of some light snow. But I think once that main forcing gets in here, which again is anywhere between afternoon and evening, depending on which model you believe, I think things will ramp up quickly as we get into whether it be the afternoon or evening. Whenever that hits, I think things will ramp up quickly, and we'll go from a light snow to potentially a heavy snow for a time. So that's tough. And Mike, what I would be watching if I were you is just the timing of the storm system, right? Does it take that deep dive, which takes it longer to get here, or does it take more of a shallow dive out west and come in here quicker? Because that's going to be the more impactful thing, is more so the timing of this. Because if it comes in earlier, right, it's going to be harder to keep those businesses open. If it comes in later, yeah, you might be okay till 8 or 9 o'clock. So there you go. Yeah, Debbie says go buy a snowblower. Appreciate that for sure. All right, I think that's it. I think we got through everybody. So I hope that helps. Again, this is a preliminary look. What we need to take away from this is not that, hey, Matt said we're going to get 2 to 6 inches of snow. We're okay. This is going to be a fluid situation. What we need to take away from it is, yeah, we've got something coming our way Saturday and Sunday. We're not going to be done on Sunday. We've got colder air. We've got wind coming with it. We'll likely have accumulating snow. How much accumulates, still kind of up in the air. It depends on where that main axis goes. But the potential is there for a decent storm. Is it a blockbuster storm? No. But is it bigger than any storm we've seen this year? Well, that's pretty easy to say. So that's what we're dealing with. Okay. All right. So stay tuned. So what we're going to do tomorrow, we'll push another web update out on regionweather.com. And we'll do another Region Weather Live. Probably before the ball drop tomorrow. I mean, I don't want to ruin everyone's plans, and we'll go from there. And then we'll keep you updated this weekend throughout the event. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your night and enjoy your last day of 2021 tomorrow. How about that? All right. We'll talk soon.